Imagine a computer so small it can disappear under your monitor, yet powerful enough to handle anything you throw at it. A machine that redefines performance, silence, and efficiency, and it's not a rumor anymore. The Apple Mac Mini with the M4 chip is here, and it's changing what we thought was possible in a desktop computer. But here's where things get interesting. Apple might already be preparing something even more powerful, something that could shake up the entire mini PC world once again, the upcoming M5 Mac Mini. So, sit tight, because we're diving deep into everything you need to know about Apple's latest and next desktop revolution, the leaks, the hidden details, and the future Apple doesn't want you to know yet. The story begins in October 2024, when Apple quietly dropped what might be one of their smartest products in years, the Mac Mini M4. At first glance, it looks simple, small, maybe even minimalistic, but inside it's a powerhouse. Apple's new M4 chip doesn't just make this tiny computer fast, it makes it faster than most desktops twice its size. We're talking about a 10-core CPU, a 10-core GPU, and unified memory starting at 16 gigabytes. It's the kind of performance that once belonged to large, noisy, expensive workstations, now packed into a silent, palm-sized box that barely sips power. And it's not just about raw speed. Apple's engineering here is a quiet kind of genius. The M4 Mac Mini has been completely redesigned from the inside out. It's smaller than ever before, roughly 5 inches on each side. Apple figured out how to shrink the motherboard, rework the cooling system, and redirect airflow through a single hidden vent underneath the machine. No fans whirring, no heat blasting out the sides, just silent, consistent power. The design is functional minimalism at its best. 2 USB-C ports on the front for quick access, more on the back, HDMI, Ethernet, and that classic power button, all placed exactly where you'd expect them to be. But here's what no one expected. The SSD isn't fully soldered anymore. That's right. For the first time in years, the storage is modular. You can swap it out, expand it, or replace it. Sure, it's proprietary, because of course, it's Apple, but it's still a small victory for anyone who wants a touch of flexibility in a world where everything is sealed shut. But as always with Apple, there's more beneath the surface. The Mac Mini M4 isn't just a product, it's a message. It tells us where Apple's desktop strategy is heading. Smaller, quieter, more efficient, but every bit as powerful as the big rigs. And this is where the rumors start heating up. Because while the M4 Mini is barely a year old, reports from reliable sources like Tom's Guide, Tech Radar, and McRumors are already hinting at what's next. The M5 Mac Mini. So what exactly are we hearing? The first whispers started with Apple's internal macOS builds, something called macOS Tahoe 26. Deep inside that software, references were found to unreleased Mac hardware, new desktops expected around late 2025 or early 2026. Some insiders believe one of those models is the M5 Mac Mini, and if that's true, we might be less than a year away from a major leap forward. The M5 chip itself is rumored to be built on an enhanced 3-nanometer process, even more efficient, even cooler, and far more powerful. Early leaks suggest it could bring up to 12 CPU cores and 16 GPU cores, all while using less energy than the M4. It's the kind of upgrade that could make the Mac Mini not just the smallest desktop, but the most efficient and best performing one for its size in the world. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Apple's not expected to redesign the Mac Mini again. The 5'5" chassis is here to stay, at least for the M5 generation. That means all the magic will happen inside. Apple can now focus purely on the chip, on the thermals, and on making the Mac Mini a silent monster of a desktop that can outperform most laptops and even rival some MacBook Pros. Imagine editing 8K footage, running massive AI workloads, or even gaming at high frame rates, all from a box smaller than your hand. The M5 Mini could turn that into reality, and because Apple's chips now share architecture across the iPhone, iPad, and Mac, the M5 Mini could also benefit from Apple's new AI and neural processing upgrades. Expect faster on-device AI tasks, smarter system management, and near-instant app performance, the kind that feels less like using a computer and more like controlling a living thing that anticipates your moves before you make them. But what about price? Historically, Apple's Mac Minis have been their most affordable Macs. The M4 starts around $799, and the M4 Pro variant pushes closer to $1,299 depending on specs. For the M5, insiders expect Apple to keep that same pricing strategy, a rare moment where Apple gives you more power without raising the price tag. But of course, if you max it out with a big SSD and 64GB of unified memory, you'll easily cross the $2,000 mark. Still, that's far less than what you'd pay for a Mac Studio or Mac Pro with similar performance. Now, some of the leaks hint that Apple could announce the M5 Mac Mini as soon as late 2025, probably during their traditional October Mac event. Others think it'll be pushed into early 2026, since Apple may focus first on rolling out the M5 MacBook Pro and M5 iMac. Either way, it's coming. And if Apple follows its usual rhythm, expect the M5 Mini to arrive right after those big releases. But here's something most people aren't talking about. Apple's long-term strategy might make the Mac Mini the center of your entire digital setup. With the M4 and the upcoming M5, the Mini is not just a desktop anymore, it's a hub. Connect it to a studio display, to your iPad, to your iPhone, to your Apple TV, and you have a unified Apple ecosystem that works seamlessly together. The Mini becomes the invisible brain behind your digital life. Quiet, efficient, always on, always ready. There's also talk about Apple experimenting with distributed compute features, allowing multiple M-series Macs on the same network to share processing power for heavy workloads. If that feature comes true with macOS 16 or 17, then multiple Mac Minis could work together like tiny silent servers. Imagine a desk with 2 or 3 Mac Minis working in harmony, processing huge data or video projects faster than a $10,000 workstation. The signs are there. Apple's pushing toward modular, networked, AI-powered computing. And the Mac Mini, with its compact design and raw power, is the perfect device to lead that shift. So where does that leave us right now? The M4 Mini is already one of the best-priced, most efficient computers Apple has ever made. If you're looking for performance per dollar, nothing in the Mac lineup even comes close. But if you're the kind of person who always wants the next big thing, the M5 Mini could be worth the wait. Every time Apple drops a new chip, they don't just make it faster. They change the rules of what's possible in that size class. The M1 shocked everyone. The M2 refined it. The M3 was efficient but transitional. The M4 was the leap, the one that proved Apple can scale its chip design beautifully across every device. And the M5? That's the generation that could make even desktop PCs look outdated. If the rumors are right, Apple is already testing early M5 Mini prototypes internally using advanced cooling and new SSD modules. Some leakers even claim that Apple might experiment with passive vapor chamber cooling. No fan, no noise, just pure heat dissipation through the aluminum chassis. That could make the M5 Mini completely silent even under full load. Think about that. A computer powerful enough to edit cinema-grade video, yet so quiet you can forget it's even turned on. It's also likely that Apple will lean heavily into AI capabilities with the M5 series. On-device generative AI, faster neural engines, and integrated support for Apple's future AI software platform, rumored to be launching across Macs in 2026. This means your Mac Mini won't just run your apps. It'll understand them, anticipate them, and optimize them for you in real time. So, if you're watching this thinking the Mac Mini is just a small computer, think again. It's Apple's blueprint for the future of computing. Small, efficient, modular, and intelligent. The M4 set the stage. The M5 is the act that could steal the show, and that's why everyone's talking. Because for the first time in years, the desktop war is heating up again. Companies like Intel, AMD, and even small PC makers are trying to match Apple's power per watt magic, but none have come close. The Mac Mini M4 has already proven that Apple Silicon is the new benchmark. The M5 might just widen that gap to the point where catching up becomes impossible. So if you're a creator, a gamer, a professional, or just someone who loves powerful tech, keep your eyes on this one. Because the next wave of Apple Silicon is about to make the desktop exciting again. And it's all starting with something that fits in the palm of your hand. This isn't just the next Mac Mini, it's the future of computing. Compact, silent, powerful, and smarter than ever. The M4 is already here. The M5 is coming. And when it does, the world's smallest desktop might just become its biggest game changer.